You know that precise, quiet moment when your feline companion approaches you with a slow, deliberate gait, pauses for a single, suspended heartbeat, and then gently yet firmly presses their forehead against your skin. To the casual observer, it is simply an adorable quirk of a domestic pet, a cute, little habit we've come to expect. But beneath that soft fur and the gentle weight of their skull lies a profound, multi-layered biological event that most humans completely fail to register. This subtle physical contact is not a random act of affection. It is a gesture saturated with ancient ancestral instinct, complex social hierarchy, and a depth of neurobiological communication that predates human civilization. Once you truly grasp the intricate mechanics of this interaction, the way you perceive your cat, and the way you respond to them, will be fundamentally altered forever. Because if you misinterpret what your cat is attempting to broadcast in that silent, tactile exchange, you might be overlooking the single most significant gesture of total vulnerability and spiritual surrender they are capable of offering a human being. If you are someone who finds yourself endlessly fascinated by the cryptic behaviors of the animals we share our homes with, stay with us today. This specific behavior is perhaps their most transparent emotional signal, yet it remains shrouded in mystery for many. Let's peel back the layers and dive into the authentic, visceral truth of what the feline headbutt really signifies in the grand design of nature. First and foremost, you must understand that this isn't a clumsy collision or a simple hello. It is a sophisticated, highly choreographed social bonding ritual. You might have found yourself wondering why your cat reserves these specific forehead nudges for a select few, while ignoring other visitors or family members entirely. To us, it feels like a passing whim or a random burst of energy, but in the feline mind, it is a highly calculated, prestigious choice. This behavior has a formal scientific name, bunting, and its origins are buried deep within the survival tactics used by wild feline ancestors to maintain group cohesion in dangerous environments. Cats are equipped with specialized, microscopic scent glands located strategically near their temples, at the base of their ears, and along the elegant curve of their jawline. When they lean their full weight into you, they aren't merely offering a physical greeting. They are actively depositing a unique cocktail of pheromones onto your skin, effectively weaving your biological signature into their own internal social map. Consider the profound weight of that action for a moment. Your cat is quite literally merging their individual identity with yours to create what ethologists and researchers describe as a collective group scent. This shared olfactory signature is far more than a simple tag or a mark of ownership. It serves as a powerful, grounding biological tool that drastically reduces a cat's cortisol levels and stabilizes their nervous system. It provides them with an instinctive, hardwired confirmation that you are a safe, predictable, and protected element of their private world. You have likely noticed that your cat doesn't distribute these nudges with an egalitarian spirit. Some guests might receive a polite, fleeting brush against a pant leg, while others are met with total, stony indifference. That variation in intensity is a direct, real-time measurement of their perceived safety and the level of social clearance you have been granted. When your cat chooses you for deep, lingering bunting, you aren't just a provider of resources or a convenient source of heat. In their primal, instinctual brain, you have been officially inaugurated as part of the pride. You are family in the truest, most ancient sense of the word. However, there is an even deeper, more analytical layer to this physical contact that touches on something far more intimate than social rank. Beyond the realm of simple affection, the headbutt functions as a high-precision diagnostic tool that your cat uses to monitor your internal physiological state. It might sound like a reach of the imagination, but it is a concrete biological reality backed by feline sensory science. Felines do not perceive the world through sight alone. They read their surroundings through a complex matrix of scent particles, micro-expressions, and subtle energetic shifts in the atmosphere. When they make forehead-to-skin contact with you, they aren't just giving you their scent, they are actively harvesting data from yours. They are taking a biometric snapshot of your current mood, your hidden anxiety levels, and even microscopic fluctuations in your hormonal chemistry or body temperature. Reflect deeply on a time in your life when you were feeling particularly overwhelmed, perhaps grieving a loss, or simply physically exhausted after a grueling day? Did your cat suddenly appear out of the shadows and offer a slow, lingering, almost mournful press against your hand or your cheek? Many owners report this phenomenon with a sense of wonder, and I can assure you it is far from a coincidence. It is their non-verbal, high-fidelity way of checking your foundation, asking if your internal world is stable without the need for a single loud or disruptive sound. Veterinary behaviorists and feline psychologists suggest that bunting is one of the rare instances where domestic cats display a trait remarkably similar to human empathy. It is quiet, unassuming, and entirely devoid of ego, yet it is incredibly powerful in its therapeutic effect. The next time your cat initiates a head bump while you are struggling through a difficult emotional valley, pay very close attention. They aren't just asking for pets, they are processing your distress signals and providing a grounding, calming presence in the only language they truly trust. If you find these insights into the sophisticated feline mind valuable and want to learn more about the secret lives of your pets, consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps us reach a wider audience of dedicated owners who want to bridge the communication gap and build a more profound relationship with their animal companions. Now, if you have noticed that some nudges are barely felt, like a ghost of a touch, while others feel like a furry, determined battering ram, that distinction is absolutely crucial for understanding their current headspace. The physical intensity and the speed of the headbutt serve as a visual and tactile volume knob for their current emotional arousal. Imagine you are relaxing on the sofa, lost in a book, when your cat provides a feather-light, almost tentative touch against your forearm. Then, perhaps an hour later, they charge across the room and launch their forehead into your shin with the momentum of a tiny professional athlete. These two actions, while both technically bunting, are not interchangeable in meaning. A soft, sustained, and slow press is usually a declaration of absolute contentment and peace. It is the sign of a regulated nervous system communicating that the world is in perfect balance and no action is required from you other than your continued presence. Conversely, a forceful, high-impact bump, the kind that might actually startle you, often indicates a state of high physiological arousal, a burst of predatory playfulness, or an urgent, burning desire for immediate social engagement. It isn't necessarily a demand, in the human sense, it is raw, unbridled enthusiasm expressed through pure physical force. Interestingly, there is a third variation. When a cat delivers a rapid, rhythmic succession of tiny, vibrating head taps against you, they are often attempting to self-regulate. Just as a human might tap their foot or pace when they have too much internal energy, a cat uses your steady, immovable presence as a biological anchor to ground their own erratic feelings. By observing exactly when these different intensities occur, perhaps the soft, dreamy nudge during a quiet, rainy afternoon in the firm, linebacker, bump 5 minutes before their scheduled mealtime, you can begin to map out their emotional internal clock with startling accuracy. If your cat seems to have a habit of headbutting the inanimate objects surrounding you, the corner of your laptop, the edge of the coffee table, or even the doorway you just walked through, before they ever actually make contact with your skin, that specific sequence contains its own unique and beautiful message. You may have been told in the past that cats rub against furniture solely to claim territory or own the house, but that is a dry oversimplification of a much more social behavior. When a cat nudges the environment near you first, they are constructing what scientists call a scent bridge. By saturating the immediate physical context of your interaction with their pheromones, they are pulling your shared space into their green zone of safety. It is a silent way of ensuring that the entire atmosphere is harmonious before they commit to the high-stakes intimacy of touching you directly. It is a ritual of preparation, a psychological warm-up that ensures their inner circle scent is dominant in the room. Cats who exhibit this pre-nudge behavior are typically very confident, emotionally intelligent, and possess a secure, healthy attachment to their human caregivers. They aren't just marking the house. They are painting the room with the scent of friendship so that you both feel more at home in each other's presence. But we must also consider the times when bunting acts as a specific, functional request, though perhaps not the one your brain immediately jumps to. Many owners feel that familiar forehead press and immediately reach for the bag of treats or the food bowl. While it can certainly be a gentle reminder that the sun is setting and dinner is late, bunting is more often an invitation to participate in a shared, predictable routine. Cats are the ultimate masters of predictability. Their entire sense of security is built upon the foundation of established patterns. A headbutt can be the starting gun for a nightly ritual you might not even realize you have, like moving from the living room to the bedroom, or initiating a specific type of play session in the hallway. It is a quiet, polite bid for connection time, rather than a transactional demand for a resource. If you choose to ignore the gesture because you're busy with your phone or the TV, the cat might return with a more persistent, firmer, and more annoyed push. This isn't out of spite or a lack of manners, but because in the cat's mind, the social loop you both created has been left unfinished. They are simply trying to complete the interaction they started, much like a human waiting for a high five that was left hanging in the air. By acknowledging these routine bumps, you validate their sense of order and strengthen the invisible threads that tie your daily lives together. Finally, we must discuss a very specific and serious version of head contact that requires your immediate, undivided attention, as it has absolutely nothing to do with affection or bonding. There is a reason this distinction is the most vital piece of information in this entire discussion. Occasionally, what looks like a typical headbutt is actually a silent cry for help, a medical emergency disguised as a common habit. Healthy, social bunting is always fluid, interactive, and relatively brief. Your cat will typically make soft eye contact, their body will remain supple and relaxed, and they will usually move away or transition into a different posture after the contact. However, if you ever observe a cat pressing their head firmly, rigidly, and motionlessly against a wall, a floor, or a hard piece of furniture for extended, glassy-eyed periods, this is a dangerous red flag known in the veterinary world as head pressing. This is not a ritual of love, it is a sign of severe neurological distress, potential toxic exposure, liver shunts, or intense internal pressure within the skull. It lacks the warmth and the give and take of a social nudge. The cat's body is usually tense, their breathing may be shallow, and they seem stuck in a state of sensory overload. Recognizing the difference between a loving, I trust you, bump and a rigid, pathological head press can quite literally save your cat's life. One is an opening of the heart. The other is a symptom of a system in total crisis. When the behavior is healthy, however, as it is in 99% of cases, it represents the absolute pinnacle of feline trust. Think about the anatomy of a cat for a second. By offering their forehead, the very center of their sensory input and the most vulnerable part of their skull, they are exposing themselves in a way that is fundamentally unpredator-like. In the brutal reality of the wild, a cat's face is their primary weapon and their primary shield. It is never offered up for contact unless there is a state of total, unwavering confidence in the recipient. When they lean into you with those half-closed, moon-shaped eyes and a loose, purring body, they are making a profound statement. They are telling you that their guard is completely down, and they believe, with every fiber of their being, that you would never cause them harm. It is a relationship built not on words or commands, but on thousands of these tiny, silent, and sacred moments of mutual respect. The next time you feel that soft, warm pressure against your hand or your forehead, I want you to take a brief second to pause and truly appreciate the depth of that bond. You aren't just being petted by an animal. You are being invited into a secret, ancient world of feline loyalty. If you've seen your cat use any of these specific styles, whether it's the linebacker charge or the scent bridge furniture rub, please share your story in the comments below. Describe your cat's signature move, and let's work together to decode the unique, beautiful language of your home. Because once you see the hidden meaning behind the movement, you'll never look at a simple headbutt the same way again. It is a gift of trust, a mark of family, and a silent promise of companionship that deserves to be cherished every single time it happens.